That's victim services RCMP.
Live now.
I guess that's just your last.
We have an open interest.
Calling to order the regular meeting of Monday, April 13th, 2026, 5 p.m. Adoption of the agenda. Do we have any changes, additions, deletions?
I have none there, Shannon, thank you.
Okay, looking for a motion. Mr. Deuce.
Am I on? There it is, great. I move that council adopt the agenda of the April 13th, 2026 regular council meeting as presented.
All those in favor? And that is carried. Adoption of minutes, the minutes of the March 23rd meeting and the minutes of the March 30th meeting. Do we have any changes or to those, any alterations? If none, could someone put a motion on the floor to adopt the minutes? Councillor Ford,
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I put a motion on the floor to accept the minutes of March 23rd, 2026 regular council meeting and special council meeting for March 30th, 2026 as presented.
all those in favor? And that is carried. Moving on to public hearings, we have none. Delegation presentations. First up, we have the RCMP Staff Sergeant Lacey Belair. Welcome.
Thank you. Is it on?
Push and hold.
Hold it.
There we go.
There we go. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having me here to present the Q3 stats for the RCP. Just want to say the Q3 stats focus generally on October 1st to December 31st, so it is a little bit dated from now, but I will speak on the stats that we had during that time. With regards to the town of Peace River, we did see a big influx in some of the standard criminal activity that we do have, mainly because of the weather. As everybody is probably well aware, we had about 45 feet of snowfall this winter, so we don't want to be outside and neither do the criminals. That does play a big part in our fluctuation of certain crimes that we do see. It's difficult for criminals to get out. It leaves more of a trail for things when they're out when it's snowing than as opposed to summertime or springtime when things start to warm up. So the biggest decreases that we saw during that time were break and enters. They were down significantly, along with mischief calls to businesses, residences, things like that in the area. But we did see an increase in more online harassment, which we classify as criminal harassment or fraud files coming in that way. Again, those kind of even themselves out throughout the year. Crime kind of has its fluctuation up and down throughout the year that we see. So is it something, a trend that's going down? Yes, there's a number of factors that can go into that with regards to certain prolific offenders that we had arrested and detained that were still away in jail as well. So some proactive work that we were doing there. Other things that we were focusing on or other things that had changed as well. We did see a decrease in the mental health act calls that we received. Again, that goes a long time along with Christmas, a lot of family and things are around. We generally see an uptick in those around February. Christmas bills from the holidays start to roll in, families start to go back to where they reside. And we see a big increase in the time over February. So we saw a decrease in that. And the biggest increase that we saw over this October to December was motor vehicle collisions. Again, that comes with the snow. Driving can be very difficult, as everyone is aware with the amount of snow that we had. Some of the positive things that we had, we were focused on impaired driving throughout the month of December. We see a big increase in that over the holidays. So we did some proactive work with our traffic services and the sheriff's unit throughout December, some work on those. Other things we had, our community liaison officer, our CLO, was extremely busy over the Christmas holidays, visiting all the schools, interacting with the kids, Christmas parades, Christmas presentations, things like that. We were also able to continue with the youth mentorship program that Constable Sunday started 2 years ago. We had two individuals, a former CFL player, and Tamika Nurse, TSN analyst, come up to the town of Peace River and the town of Grimshaw to speak with the high school students regarding career aspirations and futures in sports, things like that. So really great event that he is able to coordinate with both the public and Catholic school. Lots of positive feedback from that, from the students and from the teachers and from the parents that were engaged in those sessions. Along with that, we just had a number of interactions with FCSS with regards to the navigation pop-up center that we hosted, the town hosted here in the month of January. So I put a lot of work in with FCSS, Sagatawa, and all of our partners on to get that up and running. And we are looking at running another one in the fall. Success from my point of view is a successful event. We saw a number of people come through the event, engage with a lot of these services that we have locally and services that we don't have locally that we were able to bring in to help individuals with certain needs that they were looking for. Some other things that were happening just I'll speak on our staffing levels. We have seen we're pretty much status quo for what we have been over the last year. We did have one member return to work fully operational from a serious health condition that she was dealing with. She has come back to work, which is great news. We had 2 members that have transferred out of the detachment, but their replacements were already here and trained before they had left. So we're still status quo with that. We do have 2 hard vacancies as of right now, but those vacancies are on the provincial CTA, so Indigenous positions. To be honest with you, those are the last ones that I fill. I always try to fill frontline positions first because those are the ones that respond to calls 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Those are the priorities to do. Yeah, that's pretty much my report. If anybody has any questions.
Do you have any questions? Councillor Ford?
I know we have and I'm glad you brought it up because you brought up staffing levels. I know we have a thing coming up further on in the agenda. Can you speak to the staffing level as far as municipal responsibility goes and how many, what is that number?
I can, yes. So the town of Peace River, just to keep it simple, you guys pay for 11.5 positions, but 12 topped up by Northern Sunrise County. So we'll just keep it at 12 just for ease. With regards to those 12 positions, you're only billed with when the positions are filled. So if somebody is actively working in those positions month by month basis, that's the only billing that the town receives. If the position is vacant, I will use our GIS position. We had a member who was on long-term medical leave for serious health reasons. The town wasn't billed for that position, even though there was a member sitting in it and occupying it. The town wasn't paying for it because she was not an operational member at the time. So that's billed under the province somewhere else. Where, I don't exactly know. That's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but the town wasn't paying for that position. So we are only billed in the positions that are filled by operational members that are working. I always fill the provincial side first. So if we have a vacancy in the detachment, I'll leave the municipal side vacant and fill the province first. So the province is billed for those positions. But to keep the status quo or to keep us up with the numbers that we want of police officers here, then the town ones will be filled. The Indigenous ones are their own separate, that's a whole other thing that's billed federally and provincially. Those ones are my hand. When I fill those, they work strictly on the nation. So I stay away, I fill those as much as I can, but provincial side's filled first and then municipally is filled. If that answers your question, or.
And the other question I have is, so for instance, that's when you talk about a member off on a like a medical where we're not billed for that, how does that work then for billing for municipality? Let's say if a member's on that leave or something.
So if a member is on any type of medical leave over 30 days, the municipality is not billed for that person in that position. So that's Matt, Pat. If I fall and break my leg at work, anything over the 30 days is not operational, goes onto its own funding lines.
Okay.
So the municipality is not billed for that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah, I have a few here. Do you want me just to ask all 3 because they kind of all have to do with the same thing? What percentage does the Crown prosecute? What is the percentage of successful prosecutions? And what percentage of the charges laid are repeat offenders?
Thank you, Mayor Shannon, for that question. So it's a very difficult question for me to answer, mainly because that falls under the Crown prosecutor's side of things. We try to stay in our lane of policing when it comes to prosecutions and files being charged in court. That's strictly a Crown prosecutor. We don't go down that road. We gather the evidence, we supply all the evidence and all the information that we have to Crown, and they make that decision if they're going to prosecute or not. So unfortunately, I can't give you an answer on that because that would be a Crown prosecution question. I can say that with the files that we do get, there are 3 different options that we have when it comes to charging individuals. So file happens where the person has an extensive criminal record. We arrest them, we take them before a justice of the peace, judicial interim release hearing. If they're held, they're remanded, it goes to court. Or we have a new thing that was introduced in the province of Alberta in the last couple of years, which is called a pre-charge assessment. So if I get arrested for shoplifting and I have no criminal record, I have no history of any type of violence or anything, I'm arrested, released on paperwork where I can go with certain conditions, and then the file gets sent to pre-charge assessment, where a Crown prosecutor within the province of Alberta, it's not necessarily our local, review the files and decide if they want to move forward with charges or not. If so, then we come back and we do our thing for it to go to court. If not, then the file is concluded at that point. So there are different options for us to do. Our prolific offenders, anytime we come across them for any type of breach, we're charging those guys regardless of if they're breaching their conditions or curfew checks or anything. We're always 100% charging individuals for that, as that's how we get certain people locked away longer.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Madalova.
Yeah, thank you for the work that you do. Looking at the crime statistics, we can generally say that crime has reduced compared to the previous years. One thing that kind of caught my attention, and I want to ask, don't know if I'm allowed to ask this, but it is the persons reported missing.
Yes.
In the 5 years that were under review here, 2025 seems to be like the highest, and especially because it is double the last 2 years. I'm just wondering, like, how many of these people were eventually found?
So the majority of individuals that go missing are found. There's a lot of, when we get a missing person call, a lot of them are, from my experience that I have seen, family lives in BC. I haven't had any contact with my mom. Can you go check on her? That's generally classified as a missing persons file. It's just by our classification. For people that are genuinely missing, have disappeared somewhere, the number of those are lower compared to what we have. So a youth that runs away from home and the parents would like to know where they went, things like that, those are classified as missing persons cases. So the majority of missing persons that we do have in our region, they are found.
Thank you for the clarification, because I was looking at the answer, kidnapping, hostage, abduction, 0, but missing person kind of doubled, so I was like.
Yeah, there's a lot that falls within that category of a missing person. It could just be like my husband went somewhere and he didn't have phone access and I couldn't get a hold of him and I called the RCP. I don't know where he is. That would be classified as a missing person. So he could just be in like a no cell service area and then gets out and calls me. There's a very wide range for the scoring for missing persons files.
Thank you.
Councillor Ford.
So your typical wellness check would be classified as a missing person?
It generally would be, yes.
It's interesting. Thank you. Councillor Deuce.
So just looking at this for 2025 to 2024, as Councillor Yemi said here, it looks like the crime statistics are going down. Is there anything that you can attribute that to?
Yes, so specifically in the town of Peace River, I will contribute it to our working partnership with the CPOs. Danny and I have known each other for a lot of years and we have a very strong working relationship with the RCP and our CPOs. And for everything to function properly and for everybody to be able to do their job, I know we have a very big umbrella for all the things that we do, and we rely heavily on our partners. The CPOs in the town takes a lot of work off of us and takes a lot of that stuff on themselves. So I would contribute it to the working CPO program as well. We work very well together. They're in our office engaging with all of our new members and speaking with them on how they can help us and how we can help them. And it's great to have them here in town.
Thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you. Sorry, there's one other thing that I just want to touch base on. So it is technically a new fiscal year for the RCP as we run April 1st to March 31st. So just want to touch up. I know there is the policing committee that is coming in, but just to touch up on our annual performance plan, which we have now renamed to the Community Priorities Plan, just a new name, but same thing on our priorities that we focus on throughout the year. Just want to run them by council and see if you guys are still good with these or if anybody has any input and any changes. So the ones that we focus on in the town of Peace River that we actually focused on for the last few years, organized crime, so drug trafficking and firearms trafficking. Just to be very clear, we are looking for illegal firearms that are used in the commission of offense. Sawed-off shotguns, firearms that we know are used for other criminal activity. The province of Alberta and the RCMP in Alberta are not participating in the federal government gun buyback program. That's all that I can say on that, but those aren't the firearms that we are looking for. We're looking for firearms used in commission of other illegal activity, specifically just that. Property offenses, which goes to break and enters and mischiefs. Priority number 4 is community engagement. We like everybody to know that we are people outside of these uniforms as well, so community engagement is always huge. And then traffic offenses, specifically impaired driving. I know nobody likes to get a speeding ticket or a seatbelt ticket, but those infractions lead us to other investigations and get us access into vehicles for other illegal activity. So if anybody has any questions on them?
Oh, we don't have any questions on that.
You guys are good with those?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then did you want me to touch on the FTE, the budget increase? So I sent a request to CAO Barb Miller there regards to an increase in our FTE or funding for the town of Peace River. I believe this topic for that you guys are gonna have later. So as the town of Peace River, as I spoke earlier, you're billed on when the positions are filled. So having positions filled, 12 being the max for the town of Peace River. We only bill you on what is being utilized at the time. So we did have a member who was on long-term medical. She has returned to work now. Thankfully, she's all good back to work. So that increases the bill for the town of Peace River to have the positions filled. So we were billing at 10 FTE, which is a working member, and I am looking for council's approval to up it to 11. I know it's a big increase in financing for the town. But though to have those positions filled, I would need approval from council to fill those positions. Previous years, the town has been billed in 2023, 2024, the town was billed at 9.18 positions. In 2024, 2025, the town was billed at 9.91. So that's below the 12, which is the max that we have for the town. Last year, it was at just over 10, and I'm asking for an increase to 11 for the next fiscal year.
Any questions? Councillor Ford?
So with that contract number of being 12, even though you're filling that one position, we're still within the, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? We're still within the threshold of the current contract.
Yes, 12 is the established positions. We will never ever go over 12. 12 is the max amount that the
Okay.
town would be billed for, so we should stay below that as best as we can.
Anyone else? Okay, we're good. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Number 2, for delegations, we have the Holy Family Catholic Regional Division with Mr. Kelly Whalen, the board chair for Ward 6, Peace River and Nampa. Welcome.
I don't have a 9mm. But I'll sit on this chair. Thank you, Mayor Shannon, and thank you all councillors and staff. We just wanted to do a quick presentation of the value that we bring to our communities within the mandates that we serve. One of our governance mandates as the Board of Trustees is our intent to engage students, families, and communities throughout our jurisdictions, and help to achieve our mission statement of student success in the Catholic community guided by Christ. How do we do that? Is ongoing participation, of course, in our communities with not only council, town councils, but also municipalities, our parish councils. We're very active, our parents' school councils. And we also have a student engagement team where there's 2 students from every one of our schools that we meet with 3 times a year for a day finding out what matters to students within our division as they are our major stakeholder. Ideally, our board likes to engage with municipalities and with town councils once in our term. So we meet with every single municipality and town council within all the towns and regions that we serve. Purpose of today, though, is just like we said, just to first provide an overview of what we do and the value of our schools and students and families and the community members that we serve residing in our local areas. And I think secondly, we hope to create, and we have with some municipalities and towns, we hope to create opportunities of collaboration and to support the viability and sustainability of small rural schools, which we all are, and also to provide choice in education, which only enhances the desire for professionals to move to our towns and better education systems that we can offer, and provide choice always has a huge effect on people's decisions. They come to us, right? We do have a board of trustees, similar to you. We're part of the Municipal Elections Act. And so we just went through our elections, and we have myself, of course, I'm the board chair, but I represent Peace River and Nampa. To my right is John Curran. He is also the second trustee representing Peace River Nampa, and he is also my vice chair. Leanne Cox is one of our trustees she is our trustee for the High Prairie area. Victoria Patrick Barkhouse is in our McLennan ward. Dr. John Michael Posniak is Ward 3 for Valley View. Michael O'Connell is Ward 4 for Manning and Fort Vermilion. And John Williamson is our brand new by-election for the ward of Grimshaw-Berwyn area. And Jessica Richard is Ward 7 for Fairview. Fairview also just came on board with us just about
Last year.
last year last year was our first school year. It implemented April prior to that, and they asked to join Holy Family Catholic Regional and leave Grand Prairie Catholic. So during amalgamation back in the 90s, we probably should have had them in our group of families because we're all rural schools, and Grand Prairie is urban. However, they felt that they would be more represented by us. So as you can see, just by the number of trustees that we have and by the communities that they serve, we're a very, very large school division. I think we're the second largest school division geographically in Alberta. Not necessarily numbers wise, of course, but we take in a lot of highway miles going back and forth. Also, our central office staff, we're very fortunate. We have about 30 employees in our central office staff, which is just down by the museum, of course. Our brand new we have two new people joining us, although new but old and not in age. But our newest superintendent, as many of you know, Betty Turpin was our superintendent for about 18 or 19 years. Our newest hire is Victoria Cornick, and she's been with the division for over 20 years already in every capacity from all the way up. And we're super excited and to have her leadership and thought process. You know, change is always somewhat scary sometimes when you have something that's been working quite well, but we've already seen huge improvements, not only just in communication, but in overall direction. So we're excited about that. Yep. I was getting there, John. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Victoria. Laurie. Yes, there we go. And Laurie Goudreau is also our new deputy superintendent. And she takes on all the extra little things that Victoria assigns to her. We have a new secretary treasurer as well, Zachary Silva. He's been with us for about 2 years or 3 years, I guess now, and doing an amazing job on the financial and fiscal responsibilities of the school division.
Chair Kelly, just to move on a little further, just to let you know, we have 8 schools in our school division. We have 3 to the north of us, 2 to the south of us. Forest Manning, we have a Rosary School at K to 9, Holy Family School in Grimshaw as well at K to 9. And as Kelly referred to, STM, St. Thomas More's K to 12 school out of Fairview. And here in Peace River, of course, we have Good Shepherd School, K to 6, Mary School, 7 to 12. Then to the north of us, we have McLennan, Cole Providence, K to 8. St. Stephen's and Valley View, K to 9, and St. Andrews, another high school for us, that's 3. We have K to 12 at High Prairie, and along with Cyber High that assists all 3 high school for different types of high school programming for students. And all total, we have 1,850 student count, and approximately with our staffing, we have 150 certified staff, 210 support staff, and that number is kind of I looked at that, wow, 480 total, including Cantrell here in Peace River. So, and I mean, a division, that's quite a good number.
The one other thing that's not on here is that we do have a joint use agreement with Fort Vermilion Public Schools, and
Right.
we have St. Mary's School that is in Fort Vermilion that is our Catholic school. So we have an educational service contract with them. So we do oversee that as well. Sorry.
That's fine. Importance of Catholic education, we have 3 key areas that we really emphasize. And to begin with, respecting parental rights, you know, educational choice honors parents as their primary educators and their children, and ensures their families to select the learning environments aligned to values and beliefs that we adhere to in the Catholic faith. Secondly, we form the whole person. Catholic education nurtures intellectual growth, spiritual development, moral responsibility, and a commitment to service. And as lifelong learners, our hope in our graduates, thirdly, is to strengthen our communities. Like here in Peace River, hope our Catholic schools contribute to civic, cultural, and social viability of community while promoting passion, leadership, and common good. And we hope that the students that we do graduate stay.
Next is the Alberta Education Assurance Plan. So Alberta Ed has an assurance model where schools and the divisions are to assure stakeholders that we are doing our jobs. And so we are contributing citizens for the future. And so when there are surveys that go out to parents, teachers do surveys, and then the students, depending on the size of the school. If it's a small school, it would be grades 4 and up, depending on K to 9 or K to 12. And then if it's a larger school, even as small as, because although Glen Mary and Good Shepherd is bigger schools for our division, they are still small comparatively to the province. So their class sizes are big enough that it's grade 4, 7, and 10 are the ages of the students that are surveyed, along with those parents. And so there's surveys for different domains, including citizenship, parental involvement, all the things listed here. And then there are the academics and achievement that go along with it. And so what we are pointing out here, it has to do with what we call the soft pillars. So there's questions, there could be up to like 10 questions around one of these areas. And then they're all compiled and we are compared to last year, the year before, and then we're compared to the province. And in each of the soft pillar domains, we are above the province in our division.
I have one question. When you say compared to the province, are you only being compared to other Catholic schools or overall public and
Overall,
Catholic?
all
Excellent.
publicly funded schools.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. And so, as you can see in citizenship, we're just above welcoming, caring, respectful, safe learning environments, above access to supports and services, above parental involvement, education quality, and work preparation. So we're very proud of these statistics. And then our K to 6 school here in town, as you know, Good Shepherd School. We actually have pre-K, so we have early childhood pre-K program up to grade 6. It's French immersion as well. We have strong faith-filled school environment guided by Christ. We have strong partnership between the school, parish, and family. We have educational assistance, Indigenous supports, and wellness workers. Daily hands-on and foundation in literacy and numeracy are major focuses of that school. And then we have our Glen Mary School, grades 7 to 12.
I have a question about Good Shepherd.
Oh, sure.
What is your capacity there? Like that school has been around for a while. Like, is it enough for all the students or are you getting more students
So
than?
currently we're not at max capacity. It's not a lot of room. Luckily they're little guys. But yeah, we can't put many more students in each class, but right now we are utilizing all rooms. But there's still a little bit of room, but not much.
Okay, so you're not at capacity yet.
I think it was built for 480 students, I believe.
We're at
originally.
400.
We're at 400, so it is coming up, and it's also the third priority on our capital plan as well for modernization. Although the school looks wonderful, you walk through the school, there are some components of the school that we would like to enhance for educational outcome purposes, yes.
It does look great. I noticed the fern tree there has grown. Quite some since I
We should have put an orange tree in it.
Yeah.
You know, we could have had some.
No, that was a really,
And we're currently doing a renovation there to add to the kitchen and to be able to help with our nutrition program at the school. Because there doesn't, especially in a K to 6 school, it's not like there was the CTS, the big industrial kitchen foods or anything. And with the nutrition project from the federal government, we're using that money to enhance the facility at Good Shepherd.
it's a great school.
It
really is.
Thank you. So then Glen Mary, as you said, it is also a French immersion school. We have great programming, athletics as an extracurricular. Our cosmetology, we have a fantastic cosmetology program there. It used to be a partnership and now it's solely Glen Mary's. And we offer options for junior high in Cosmo all the way up to senior high, drama, food studies, and fabrication and construction. We have welding labs in the welding bays in the construction lab, and it's highly utilized. Another thing that I'm very proud of for Glen Mary is the high school first responders program. And so that used to be a program partnered with AHS and it got discontinued, but we're lucky that we were able to continue it. So we have a team of high school students, they apply, they get accepted. There's a number of them on a team. They get their first aid training and they run regular meetings and they work like first responders and they are utilized. They're on call during the day. They are on call during like the provincials, when we hosted the provincials. Last 3 weeks ago, they were on call there and we've had a number of them. I know one who is finishing the program, they have either gone into the fire department, they've gone into actual EMS programming from being introduced to it at Glen Mary School. So we're very proud of that. And then we have our high school work experience, the RAP program, Registered Apprenticeship Program, as well as dual credit. We have programming partnership with Northern Lakes College, where we have students who are taking post-secondary courses to get them started at, to get high school credits as well. So it's a fantastic program there.
And a bit of contribution to Peace River community. We have a couple of testimonials which I love to share. First one is Brandon Gagnon, manager at MNP here at Peace River. Both Good Shepherd and Glen Mary schools played a significant role in my life, and it helped to shape the successes I've been able to achieve. I'm grateful for the role my teachers played. They provided me the skills and encouragement to pursue my education further and ultimately obtain my chartered professional accountant designation. Some of the best experience of my life came from attending a Good Shepherd in Glen Mary. I made lifelong friends and had great teachers and always supported me, and I will always cherish the memories I have playing. I have loved to play basketball for the Saints. Those Saints go. And Lindsay Pronto, I wish we had a picture of her, co-owner of the Peace River Broadcasting Station here in Peace River. She says, I believe who we are and what we become is greatly shaped by how we start. Kicking off my younger years at Good Shepherd School, then Glen Mary, I felt encouraged not only academically, but also with my personal development. At school, I was given the space to be me and the guidance to become an even better version of myself. This foundation has helped me flourish in a creative field I now work in and love. The greatest testament in my experience is my children now walking the halls of Good Shepherd School. I love Peace River. Go Peace River, go.
Excellent. And one of their other, different than our public school counterparts throughout the province, Catholic schools have some other connections under Christian service hours and volunteering. Some of the things that we've done, obviously, pancake breakfasts within our parishes. We have lots of Christian service hours throughout the community in places like Points West and the Senior Center, highway cleanups, the SPCA, St. Isidore's Carnival, Peace River Curling Club, and coaching local sports teams, among hundreds of other potential impacts that our students have within our home community on a daily basis. So it's one of the things that we're really, really proud of. When we also look at the successes of Catholic education, publicly funded Catholic education in Alberta, I'm also the president of the Alberta Catholic School Trustees Association, which takes in every Catholic school in Alberta, Northwest Territories, and the Yukon. And when we take the Alberta education results, the 24 Catholic school divisions are in the top 30 of all the school divisions for safe and caring and respect and participations within their own communities. So it's pretty apparent that choice in education is great. We love our counterparts. We have wonderful collaboration with I would say in all of our communities, but particularly with Peace River School Division. We work collaboratively, and we were just on the phone with them 10 minutes ago talking about another opportunity. So I think, again, it comes back to that choice in education for our stakeholders and our constituents that we all serve. And other than that, we'll open the floor if there's any other questions other than what.
Are there any questions, Mr. Ford?
Actually, thank you for your presentation. Mine, well, kind of directed to this, but not really, but I sit on the RCMP Community Advisory Committee on behalf of the town of Peace River. And I reached out to one of your students, no names mentioned, of course. This young fella is in grade 9. So I'm proud to say he's come on to our RCMP Advisory Committee for the next 4 years.
Nice.
Which is until he graduates. But my question would be, because you brought it up in your presentation, so is this something that if our board, or like we're a not-for-profit group, is that something that our board can write a letter and possibly have him get credits for participating on that board?
Yes, so there is the student, once they get in grade 10 is when the conversations start happening, so they can collect, I guess, they could have accumulate their Christian service awards starting in hours in grade 10. We allow it to be over a period of time because of working, many things that happen in a student's life. So then he would work with the guidance counselor, and it gets talked about in comm class as well. So then there's 3 parts to it. So there's a proposal. And then once that gets approved by the guidance counselor and admin, which would then, if they're volunteering on a board, that potentially could be, it depends on the parts and what they're going to do with it. So then they do the service hours, and then they actually do a presentation afterwards, some kind of project. So that is 3 parts. It's not just doing the hours, but it definitely would be looked into by their administration.
Okay, thank you for that. The it's nice to have that representation from the schools, from a student's perspective back onto our board. We haven't had that for quite some
Yes, but a
time.
few years, I remember about 5 years ago, we had one, but it's.
Yeah,
been-
but it
yeah.
was nice because the student brings concerns that the school has to our committee. And they also take the information back to the student union, so that's why I'm happy to have that young fellow with us. And he will also be helping us organize the program Walk It or Lose It. I'm not sure if you heard of that program. It's to do with vehicles, et cetera, et cetera. He will be helping us organize that program at the Glen Mary School parking lot this year.
Oh, excellent.
Which we also did last year.
Oh, good.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
It's really nice to see the schools rate so highly. That's very, very nice to see. Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you. Take care.
And keep up the good work. Okay, moving on to number 6, we have bylaw readings. We will go through the meeting procedures bylaw with Ms. Parsons. Bylaw number 2187.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Shannon. Good evening, council. Meeting procedures bylaw number 2187 is before council today. So basically what this is a amalgamation of an already passed bylaw amendment into the current meeting procedures bylaw number 2174, along with the amendment that council had asked for. So that way we don't end up with one bylaw with 2 amending bylaws. We can just get rid of them and start with one new clean bylaw. So that's all in the red line copy that you'll see, just so you can see that bylaw 2179, which changed how the position of deputy mayor is appointed, was amalgamated into the bylaw. So that's not really a change, just incorporating that other one. So the changes that you'll see before you now are specifically the change to section 6.2, which moves comments from the public to be earlier in the meeting. I specifically had put the location of that to be after the public hearings and delegation presentations themselves, simply because those are pre-scheduled and these ones are drop-in. And that seemed like the most logical spot in my own opinion. But if council wanted that moved somewhere else, certainly up for discussion. That was just my suggested location. And then adding a Schedule A, a terms of reference to set specific parameters for that section of the comments to the public. This is very much based on the one that was presented to council at the GMP in March, that the town of Whitecourt had. So if there's anything in that council would prefer to see changed to not follow as Whitecourt has done, we can do that as well. It addressed some of the concerns that administration had presented at the March 2nd GMP meeting about, the potential of it to not to want to become a public hearing or to bring up really new information for an item that's considered on the agenda. So in this specific schedule, it asks people not to talk about items that are on the current agenda. However, it does give the chair the ability to waive that should council want to hear that. So it allows that flexibility while trying to address those concerns. So those were the only changes specifically that we made in red line, but there was a discussion during that GMP about amending the section 8, preparing the agendas, and the section 14.2 about the closed sessions. And we didn't make any specific red line changes to that section, but leave it open for discussion for council if they did want to proceed with any changes there. If that is the case, depending on the scope of the changes, if they're a little bit larger, I would maybe ask that we give first reading to the bylaw with direction to make changes, to bring forward changes for second reading. I believe that was one of the option, that was option 2. And so that's all I have for you. Any questions, comments? Happy to take them.
So this, new thing we're gonna try here by putting the comments at the beginning. We are doing this for the public input, but if it gets abused, we will go back to the follow-up to the prior way it is. Like, we are trying to open it up here, but like you say, if it does cause issue or it is misused, then I have no problem rescinding this because, we're gonna try it and we're gonna see how that's gonna work. But to be clear, we have to respect that change or it will be taken away. Anyone have questions or anything for Kayla? For Ms. Parsons? Okay, well, will someone be willing to put a motion on the floor? The first reading.
I move that council give first reading to bylaw number 2187, meeting procedures bylaw as presented.
All those in favor of the motion on the floor? And that is carried. And we'll move on to unfinished business. There is none. And moving on to 8 current business, we have the 101st Street slide repair update with Director Fisher.
Yeah, this one's real quick, just an update that was asked for. I don't think the chart's on it. That the project got tendered. I'm waiting for some updated costs from a consulting team. I'll be coming forward with an ask for additional budget. That's the update. Any questions?
So it's been tendered,
It's tendered and closed. We had 4 submissions.
you get 4 submissions. And came across some costing changes.
Yeah, I'm over budget. I'm just waiting to confirm how much you need to ask for.
Okay, any questions? Go ahead.
Just to confirm, this is the road slide that's above Points West, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
It's not a slide. I keep
Correct.
trying to change the wording. It's erosion.
okay,
Oh, erosion.
Yeah,
okay,
so that's why the tender went out. That's road repairs and storm repairs, not slide.
okay, thank you.
Okay, well, there are no questions. Can someone accept that for information? Counselor Forsyth.
I move that council accept the 101st Street slide repair update for information.
Any questions from online, Counselor Erickson?
He's on mute.
Okay, well, I guess he doesn't have any questions. So I'll leave it up to someone to put that on the floor. And we will now vote on all those in favor. I was just waiting for Counselor Erickson, but I'll wait for him to vote. Okay. And that is carried. Moving on to number 2, the RCMP request for additional full-time employment funding with CAO Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Shannon. Microphone scares me. So the request for decision before you is regarding the addition of 1 full-time officer to be added to the RCMP force. As mentioned by Staff Sergeant Lacey, they're requesting to add 1 position to our current budget conditions. At a cost of roughly $182,000 per year. This request came in after the budget has been drafted, and so the request is not included in the budget that is before you for adoption this evening. For administration purposes, of concern of this request is in regards to the recent policing study review that was conducted, where it was highlighted that the town significantly funds or offsets the cost of the provincial side of policing, which is something that we need to begin to tackle and address to see if we can't get further support on that inequity. So if council would like to consider this request for this addition towards the budget, $125,000 is roughly 1% additional increase, so it'd be about another percentage and a half increase to our municipal requisition, which would then could be funded either from an increase, 1.5% increase to our municipal requisition that council is going to be asked to adopt. It could be funded through reserves for this year with further consideration into the budget next year. It could be funded as a combination of both reserve and impact to this year's budget, and or alternatively, council could decline this request for this year. Thank you.
Questions? Counselor Ford?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So with the questions I had asked earlier, so if the contract or the allowable amount of members for the municipal side of policing is, I think she used 11.512, and we're currently below that. Wouldn't we always budget for the full 12, because that number can fluctuate from year to year?
No, actually, we haven't, because they haven't funded those positions or filled those positions for some time. And actually, I'm trying to go back in time too, because I recall actually seeing a letter from a prior council that had asked for that number to be reduced some. And I was trying to pull that, it's historical and it doesn't really matter, other than at some point in time, that number was asked to be decreased. And then because they haven't been filling those positions for so long, up to that max, it's just been budgeting annually, whatever we've been receiving, basically.
So I do remember back in the day, and I'm, like you say, getting older, so my memory's not the greatest. But I do remember back in the day that we always used to pay for the 12. And that was changed a number of years ago by a former staff sergeant who brought in the idea of only filling the provincial side first and only billing the municipality for those positions that are staffed. So that's why I asked that question.
So in the 4 years I've been doing budget, we've just budgeted.
Yeah, this was prior to that, okay.
Any other questions? Counselor Deuce?
I'm just trying to formulate my question here. So thinking back to the budget, we plan for all the wages that we incur per year, whether we have vacancies or not, correct? And we have 2 vacancies currently in the town for more than 6 months, right? So personally, my view is that we should fund it, whether a portion of it from reserves and a portion with a slight tax increase, because we already have technically the funds sitting there. Maybe we could redirect that money from the wages that we aren't paying out rather than putting it in reserves and direct it into this for this year, and then next year add it to the budget. Is that something that could be possible?
Absolutely, council, whatever council would like to do is possible.
I would actually agree with that. That would be a practical way of handling.
What's that idea again?
So currently in the budget, they plan for every position that we have in the town, right? Well, we don't have a director of corporate services and we don't have a manager of planning and development right now. So there's 2 senior positions that aren't being paid for. So technically that money, even though it's being budgeted for, will just go into reserves, correct?
Right.
Right. So I propose that we redirect those wages to help pay for this.
So you're suggesting option 2?
Yes, okay, yeah.
That's what I was.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's a permanent change, so then next year, we just need to know that even if we don't have vacancies, that we're gonna have to come up with 200,000 for that position moving next year and moving forward.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
It's not just a one-time shot.
but it gives us time to plan for that, right?
Director
For
Press?
the budget, correct?
Oh, no, all I was gonna say was that there is another pay raise increase coming with the RCMP very shortly.
But they're in negotiations,
Yeah,
yes.
the negotiations are on the process right now as well.
Yes, it gives us time to, but it's again, one full year notice when you want to change.
Okay.
Okay, so we can't just say next year in the fall, our budget doesn't cut it. We would have to for sure fund it next year with written notice.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Councillor Deuce?
So, just based on the staff sergeant's report here, she had mentioned that their call numbers have gone down because our CPO program has taken a number of those. Does administration feel like this extra RCMP officer is needed based on the program that we've developed, or what's the view of the other counselors around the table?
That's what I was just going to say, like, they noticed the impact of our CPO program. And especially because they've been running like this for the past 2 years. And now we have added the CPOs. So like, do we really need at this time, or is it something we can say, okay, wait and observe?
Councillor Forsyth, what is your thoughts on it?
No, it's a good question. I mean, I've asked the same one myself today. I think the thing is with these, like the CPO program is great. It's clearly helping a lot. I don't think we should be declining this though. I don't think we should be. Like we have 12 in the contract. I don't think we want to get our numbers down, in my opinion.
Councillor Ford?
Yeah, my thought process is the same way, and like I had mentioned, and Staff Sergeant said it again tonight, just like I had mentioned last meeting, the relationship between our RCMP members and the relationship between our CPOs is absolutely amazing, and it's working. But your worship, or say that, Madam Mayor, I would be more than happy to put a motion on the floor that council direct administration to fund the additional RCMP FTE in brackets 1 in the amount of 182,000 from general operating reserve.
Councillor Erickson, would you like to weigh in on this, please?
I agree
Okay.
with Councillor Ford.
Okay. Ms. Parsons?
Sorry, just to, if we were wanting to go, and maybe we're not, but if we were wanting to go with Councillor Dew's suggestion of partially funded from the current operating budget with the vacant positions and then partially out of reserve, you could go that to redirect the budget dollars allocated in the current draft operating budget for vacant positions to fund this position with the necessary outstanding dollars to be funded through the general operating reserve. So we can calculate then how much budget dollars will be, for as long as those positions are vacant are available, and then calculate how much we need to take from operating reserve, if that is what council.
But the outcome is the same, whether you
Yeah.
take it from one pot or two, or how you're doing it, right?
Absolutely, just a suggestion if that was a direction.
Well, one question I have on that, which I find confusing is, okay, we have the manager of planning position that is vacant now and the director position that is vacant. I believe we're still searching. What if we get tomorrow?
Yes, they will be filled, those positions will be filled.
Yeah, the positions will be filled, but then we have to like kind of come back to budget again, or how does this work?
Well, I think the motion direction, I believe, would be to fund the difference out of operating reserve this year. And then in 2027 budget is gonna be funded through the budget, through normal process. Which means there'll be an addition to the budget next year of 200,000.
Yeah, I get that. I guess what I was looking at is, can we just say like, create this budget using this same option without necessarily referring to those positions that are still like we're
Oh,
scouting
yeah,
for?
no, we don't wanna refer to any positions.
Okay.
Just say municipal, how did we do? Just say. Sorry.
Sorry, so
Just your
yeah, so it
vacancies.
would be allocated in the current draft operating budget for vacant positions. So basically what we mean is, so right now it's budgeted from January until April and we don't have anybody in that position. So until that position is filled, those funds are available. So theoretically, if we don't hire someone, let's say till June, from January to June, those funds are available. So we would just take that amount, add that in, and then withdraw the rest from operating reserve is kind of just that pocket that's left between the vacancy.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Ford, how would you like that to read then? Would you wanna?
Well, my understanding is the monies that are not spent right now, if it's not hired, that's going to reserve anyway. So I would just let my motion stand.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay, anything else to add to the discussion? If not, there's a motion on the floor. All those in favor? And that is carried. So that leads us to our favorite part, the tax supported operating budget with Ms. Guidon. She always has the biggest presentation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I would like to say that I am optimistic that the Director of Corporate Services position will be filled before June. We'll just put that out into the universe. I bring before you the request for decision regarding the adoption of the 2026 tax supported operating budget. During the meetings held on March 2nd and April 7th, council discussed the tax supported operating budget. The total revenues and expenses included in this budget are $29,496,410. Included in revenues is $504,060 in capital grant revenue and $3,594,900 in transfer from reserves. Included in the expenses is $4,191,710 in amortization and a transfer to capital reserves of $504,060. Other capital revenues and expenses are not included in the budget. We have guiding principles in the budget, which can be summarized as keeping the tax rates competitive, mitigating negative future budget changes, maintaining existing service levels, and including funding for the current year capital plan. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to flip over to the slide deck. We haven't made any changes since the last time this was before you a week ago. So within the slides, we've still got the charts, the graphs, and the departmental details. Could you flip forward to the other items for consideration? Thank you. Okay, so this budget does not include any of these items that we mentioned as for consideration. So the revenues and the expenses that I just spoke to are as per what we've got in the budget. We did not include any of these ideas, which is kind of where option 2 is on the request for decision. Option 1 is adopting the 2026 operating tax supported budget as it was presented and as it is in the slide deck, which would allow us to implement our operational plan, applies with the MGA, and allows us to begin preparation of the 2026 property tax rate bylaw. Option 2 is council may choose to adopt the 2026 tax supported operating budget as amended. You guys have put forward one amendment already tonight. I'm just highlighting that if you want to amend the budget for any of these additional items, that is also an option. Not only do we have a couple of vacant positions where those savings are going to go into reserves, we also will have some roughly $30,000 from the savings on the lights, which could also be used to help fund some of these items. So if you put any of these forward, say in the ballpark of 30,000, there again, if we fund it through reserves, we've got upcoming savings on our utilities for streetlights that would most likely cover up to that amount. And there again, if you choose to adopt the 2026 operating budget as amended, it would allow us to work towards fulfilling our operational plan, complies with the MGA, and we would be able to begin preparation of the 2026 property tax rate bylaw. The financial implications are dependent upon what amendments you guys choose to add. And option 3, you guys could direct us to make further changes and bring it back at a later date. So.
Okay, so up on screen are our optional items. that are
Optional
not
items,
yet.
yes. So that includes the additional $25,000 in radio promotion. The Ken Sargent House sponsorship, where they requested 35,000, topping up the Stars sponsorship up to $1 per capita, which would add $1,600 to the total sponsorship. The Massawa Medical Center, where they asked for a substantial amount of 1.2 million. And then if there was some funds that you wish to dedicate towards airport committee expenses or strategic plan initiatives.
Strategic plan initiatives, CEO Miller, what would?
We don't have the final, draft or anything, and I feel, from the Saturday and what administration participated in, I feel we have already built a great deal. I think we were all well aligned before that, so I think we've built stuff into the budget. So what I would suggest, unless there's something that you all think of, kind of that I may not have triggered right away. I think we're okay, and then when we get the final budget, we can always ask for additional budget funds out of reserve to move some priorities forward if we feel we need that.
And we could probably use that same logic for the airport committee expenses as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, actually.
Okay, so taking those two off, I guess we'll just start at the top, the promotion, the extra 25,000 of promotion, I'm gonna push that really hard. Oh, sorry, Councillor Ford, sorry about that.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just my own thought process with this whole list, is to drop everything with the exception of the advertising. I think from what, the mayor had said last meeting, that is extremely important for us to sell our community. And the Stars sponsorship, instead of a progressive increase, I would leave it as it is.
Leave it
Right
at
now.
5,000.
Leave it as it is right now, which we've already budgeted.
Okay.
And then everything else, I would drop it off. As the CEO said, they could always, like, if there's an airport committee expense or some strategic planning stuff that comes up, that can be requested at a later date. But that would be my opinion.
Councillor Forsyth.
I agree with Councillor Ford, other than I would like to see us meet that Stars ask personally. I think $1 per capita is not too much to ask for. I didn't really realize how privately funded they are, or not privately, but they rely on municipalities and fundraising and a lot of these things. So I think increasing that much is it's nothing at the end of the day, but it gets us on par with other communities. And I think it's an important service.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Erickson, do you have anything to?
I
weigh in
agree
here?
with Councillor Forsyth.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Deuce, what about?
I would also agree with the addition of the $25,000 for advertising, and I would like to see the Star sponsorship go up to the $1 as well.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Malvalola.
No questions.
Okay, I think I would tend to agree with Councillor Deuce and Councillor Forsyth. I think Stars, where we live, is not the greatest place to access. And we can always use extra help when it comes to aviation in this part of the world, I believe. And I think I don't see a problem with putting that at $1 per capita It shows good faith that we, doesn't mean we have to keep doing it, but it shows good faith for this year, way forward.
Sound good by me.
So now I guess we're just going to look for a motion.
I can make that motion.
Okay,
I would move that council adopt the 2026 tax supported operating budget as amended and attached here to forming part of these minutes.
oh, sorry, Ms. Parsons.
Just for very specific clarity, are you okay to have an amendment to that, just to be amended as follows and attached here to forming part of these minutes? And I'm just gonna add upping the STARS budget line to the $1 per capita and adding the 25K for radio advertising?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. All those in favor of the motion? And motion is carried. Thank you, Ms. Gato. Next up, we have Ward of Council Branch Organizations, intake 1 with Director Bell. This is gonna be hard. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I think the operating budget was easy. Just into the task ahead of you now. Council has received, for this first intake, a correction to the report actually is 12 applicants for the first intake period. I believe that's a record for us. In total, it's an $86,000 and change request from the community for a, what you approved just moments before, a $50,000 budget. So it does make your task fun. I'm gonna look at this from a positive perspective. I have asked Ms. Parsons to share a spreadsheet on the screen for you. As I go through some of the options, you definitely have the option to pick and choose. And I thought for ease of decision-making, if you would like to play with different numbers, we've got a spreadsheet that we can add and see what the totals amount to instead of us trying to do the math in our heads. For those new members of council, this is a policy of council. It's called the grants to organizations. There are 3 intake periods throughout the year. The first intake is March 15th, and this intake is what we're addressing this evening in this report. The policy was provided to you as a reference. The budget has been passed at $50,000 for the year. Typically, the budget had been spread over the 3 intakes, so approximately $16,000 in change per intake. But that has always varied depending on the number of applicants, the requests of the applications, and funds can be moved typically if you have funds left over from one intake period to another. There is a capital component within the policy, and it's capped at $5,000 per applicant. There's an evaluation process. Within that evaluation, your administration reviews the applications and scores against the application evaluation criteria. In the report is a chart that lays out each of the financial requests of the applicants. I added sort of the timing of each of the proposed applications, whether it was a project or event or a capital or what their circumstance was, just to also illustrate that a number of your applications were not upcoming immediate activities. Some of them were later in the fall, so that was a little bit different than we've seen in the past. Good for them for being organized and on top of it and not waiting till later. And we provide you with, excuse me, the 2 staff that scored their individual scorings and then a final ranking based on the average of those 2 scored numbers. This scoring is for your reference. You can choose to utilize the scoring as a basis of your decision making, or you can make your own decision outside of that scoring that's provided. And that I also lay out in the options within the report. So option one, also just a couple of items of note. And this would, if Councillor Carr were here tonight, I know that he would also bring this up. Previously, the policy did include an allowance or the ability for an organization to apply for touring, sort of if you're traveling out of the area. Council chose in its most recent update last year, I believe, or the year before, to remove specific reference to traveling and funding for travel, and put a little more emphasis on activities within the community or bringing economic development or events within the community. So I just wanted to make a note on that, as we do have an application specifically for out of community travel. Though there had been some debate whether there is some promotional benefit to that, as they're from Alberta, that side of things. Also just a limitation on one of the applicants that requested 30,000 for a capital project. The policy does state a $5,000 cap. You also have a challenge of not having enough funds for all the requests also. So that makes things more interesting for you. I'm glad I'm on this side of the table. And lastly, we did have one application, unfortunately, and fortunately, the individual organization did reach out to me today. They noticed that they hadn't seen their name on the list, so we went back and looked through the email, and alas, we did find one application that was missed in terms of our original full review. So they didn't have the opportunity to come speak to council, and they were not unfortunately available to attend this evening. But we have reviewed the Peace Association for Lifelong Learning request. That application is for a seniors training technology workshop, but not specifically workshop, more ongoing training opportunities. So that is included in this updated format in the RFD. And has been scored and provided for your reference also. So option one, based on the evaluation scoring, administration proposes that you fund the top 5 applications. This provides a total of 38,300 to the top 5 organizations that scored the highest based on the scoring criteria. Council can choose that approach. Council can also choose option 2, which does sort of spread out some funding to much more, a few more organizations, not just the top 5, but you have the opportunity to fund a vast majority of your applicants, but not your lowest level scored organizations. So that provides council with another type of opportunity or a different funding model. Option 3 provides council direct determination of funding at its discretion for each application. Hence the spreadsheet that is provided to you if you'd like to do some real-time decision making. We can also plug those numbers in and see where you land based on your back and forth. So those are at least 3 options for you. There may be a 4th if you so choose.
Okay, it's open to the floor. Anybody want to weigh in? Councillor Ford.
I actually like the idea of trying to spread the funds around as much as possible. Some of these groups might not have scored the highest, but it's also their first time applying, so I would kind of favor option 2.
Anybody else weighing in here?
Yeah, I will go with Councillor Ford.
Option 2?
Yeah, but well.
Option 2 exactly,
Yeah,
or
No,
change a little bit.
modified option 2. We modify something.
Okay, modifying option 2, okay, that's good. Councillor Deuce, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm a bigger fan of spreading the wealth around, as the term may go. But yeah, I would adjust some of the funding amounts here as well.
Okay, and Councillor Forza.
Yeah, I agree in spreading it out. So there's two more intakes this year though.
And on that note, if council does choose to expend the entire 50,000 in this budget, you may also consider a motion that would suspend the program for the year, just so that then administration could publicly advertise and confirm with the community that direction or not. So that's again up to council's choice, but I just wanted to make that note also.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any ideas around how they want to modify the numbers? Councillor Ford.
Well, with option two, it's 48,300. So there's a little bit of playing room there. I did hear, the comment, from Director Bell in regards to like out of country travel. So that one group, if I remember their presentation properly, they're not spending they're not spending the money on plane tickets. It's to get our name on a jersey.
Merchandise there.
So
Yes.
it's more of a merchandising, which gets the town of Peace River's name out to, on the jersey as a sponsorship to, wherever these kids are playing. So I would probably, I'd like to see that, add the $1,000 to that one.
Is that your only?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else have any ideas on the numbers? That would bring us to 49,300. Councillor Deuce.
I just have a question. The Peace River Wahoo's Winter Swim Club, that was for in-kind donation of the pool, was it not?
It's for the, this is not turned on. Oh, there we go. Yes, so the rental of the pool for the day, or 2 days, I believe. Yes, it's
Okay.
a pool rental for their event.
Madam Mayor?
Yes. Sorry, I'm just.
Yeah, so just to comment on that, years, a long time ago, well, not all that long ago, but, that, the piece about waiving fees, we kind of got rid of that. I think that was in my second term of council. And the reason being is for instance, in kind, when it comes to the pool rental, if you just waive that fee, it shows, correct me if I'm wrong, it shows a negative on the books because you're not bringing in the revenue.
The revenue.
So this shows the revenue in and out.
Yeah, it makes the town's contribution tangible.
So we have $700 left with adding that 1,000 into this.
From the entire budget.
Yeah. So that brings it to 49.
And that's still leaving.
$700
For lifelong learning.
Oh, yeah, that leaves them empty.
So,
And the underground music study and the swim park.
you know, I think,
Why? Oh boy.
sorry, no, go on.
I see we kind of stuck to the number of 5,000 there. Perhaps we change the Tri-River Triathlon to 5, and then we get an extra bit of money there to work with, and everybody's kind of got the same 5. Kind of even in the fair, and then we could use what's left to perhaps fund some of the others.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
Okay,
That's what.
I would agree with that, and I do like to see the road rack one stay higher.
And they're in conjunction with the Boating Association. Those are 2 events that are now adopted by our annual major event, so we have to kind of be
Support.
supportive of that.
Yeah.
That's our major.
Just to clarify for council, in option 2, the voting association was at 5,000. So I just want to make sure that's everyone is on board with that, or
Okay, so where are we at now with if we move the Tri-River to 5,000, so we gain from there?
you're 46,300 with the voting association at 5,000.
So we gotta go to 3,500 roughly to play with here. And we got 1, 2, 3 that have nothing. We have lifelong learning, the swim club and underground so far with no funding. And the boating association low one there asked. So unless we give 500 to underground, 500 to Wahoo's. That would take us to 2,500. We have 500 to the lifelong. That would be 1,500, and then maybe we could tack on the rest of the boating association to bring their number up. That would kind of use up that, and everybody would get something.
Oh, I went over by $100 for that.
But then we have to remember it would be now put on hold for the rest of the year. We got no fund unless we somehow come across some extra.
So I have on the screen for you what you've just stated. So 5,000, can you see that?
You blow it up.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm blind.
Great. It's perfect size for me here, even without my reading glasses.
I think the boating association's getting 20 grand.
Oh, I didn't need to do that.
Tourism too.
Oh, what is cool? Sorry, technology. Oh, no, making things worse. All right. 10 Acre Shaker, 5,000. Alberta Pond Hockey, 5,000. Community Futures, 5,000. Peace Association for Lifelong Learning, 500. Peace Regional Hockey Tour, 1,000. Peace River Boating Association, 7,200. Peace River Curling Club, 5,000. Peace River Wahoo Swim Club, 500. Rotaract River Days, 10,300. Royal Canadian Legion, 5,000. Tri River Triathlon, 5,000, and Underground Music Society, 500.
And that brings us to the 50.
50 even.
What do you think, gang?
That, in other years, I'm just curious. Is this, do we typically fill this, or do we typically have we left room for the other intakes?
Have we ever had one like this? This full?
I've never seen one.
It's not.
I
This is pretty.
can't recall a time, maybe early on in the grant program, things tapered off during post-COVID timeframe, but they're definitely on the upswing which is great. For example, the triathlon is, oh, thank you. Did you do that?
Yeah, my computer's finally.
Sorry.
This video like this, right?
The triathlon hasn't been in existence for a number of years, so that's another example of an event that's coming back, which I think is a really great thing that we're seeing new events reemerge again. So, yeah, this is kind of the first we've seen this kind of intake, which is a good news story. Good news, bad news. Yeah.
Okay, so we want to put a motion on the floor, or are there any modifications that anyone would like to see?
Good.
Okay.
What's the total that we have now? I can select. It was 50,000.
Yeah, we're right.
So that, must we kind of finish everything or have a little left? Because I was thinking like, the, Troy River, we could take 2,000 out of it and split it equally among those that are already in equal. There was like a detachments. So that way, we know that everybody gets something and we keep it as it is. And the total still remain 48,300, we still have like 700 left. But if we must finish everything, then we can add the 700 to the Rotaract stuff to make it 11,000.
Do you get that?
No, did not.
You want to,
I was saying that we could just take 2,000 out of the 8,000, split it among the 4 that are dashed now to make it equal 500. Then keep it as that. But if we must then finish the 50,000, whatever is left there, we move it to the Rotaract Riverdale because it's a very significant event.
So you funded Rotaract to its full request with its
Oh,
current format.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, it's already, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we pulled 3,000 out of the.
Yeah.
treasury.
yeah.
Already
so I think that
reduced.
Instead of pulling 3,000 out of that, we put 2,000.
Hmm.
Yeah, we split it among those ones.
I see what you're
That's
saying.
kind of,
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah. So instead of 5,000 here, you're suggesting 6 for triathlon?
Yeah,
And then using that 2,000,
to spread among those. that
the
are
other,
down.
so you would actually reduce the hockey tour.
No, I'm not reducing anything other than the tri-river. Those 4 are already blank. So if we take 2,000 out of it, we just split it among the 4, 500 each.
Yeah.
And everybody goes on with something.
So. Oh, that's predicated on the boating association dropping to make that work.
No, none is dropping other than the tri-river, except maybe there is any other one that is not on this list.
Right, and we had the boating association at 5,000 in that option too.
That still remains 5,000.
Yeah, during the previous conversation, it was requested to move it up to 7,200.
No, I was saying that if we want to leave the total as it is at
Yes.
300.
Yeah.
All we need to do, I mean, in my thinking is to
Yeah.
just take 2,000 out of the 8,000.
Yeah.
And we split it among the 4 that are blank now.
So that would
Nothing
be,
is adjusted again.
Yeah.
The total still remains 48,300 and we
Yeah.
have extra 1,700.
that's up for council to debate.
Okay, so that would leave Rotaract at,
It will leave every other one as it is. The only one that will be affected is the tri-river. Because it will see a reduction of 2,000. And that 2,000 that is reduced from there will be split
Yeah.
among the other 4 equally.
So this would go back.
so at 500, everybody would get 500.
Yeah, and we still keep the total as 48,300. 1,700 will be left.
Oh, too many zeros, sorry.
I'm sorry, we can't take comments from the gallery. Yeah. So,
As Councillor Babalola has suggested, just for illustration purposes, so you can see it. Yeah, there you go. That gives you the 48,300, and that's what it would look like. And that's all the organizations on that listing, if you can read it. Can you read it?
what does that leave the hockey club at?
It would reduce it to 500 for hockey.
That doesn't get the sponsorship though.
Yeah, that if we take away from that 1,000, it won't pay for the sponsorship.
Still have somebody left though.
You do have it, this totals 48,300. So you could,
We
Bump
could
it up.
we could just take the balance of the 1,700 that will balance this total to 50,000 and split it between the others and leave it as it is. So that way, we're not taking out of anybody that's already been kind of planned for here. We're only taking what is left and splitting it so that instead of nobody going, instead of some organizations going with nothing, the reserve or whatever, the remainder is split among whoever does not get anything now.
And that would use up the whole thing?
Yeah,
Okay. So you wanna put hockey back to 1,000 and then take what's left and divide it between
The other one.
the other 3 or all of them? The 4, there's lifelong learning,
it's 4.
swimming, underground and hockey, but if hockey was we already put 1,000 in there.
Yeah.
So 500 to each of the other ones would be 1,500. And we have 17 and some. What do you think? How would you like to do that?
Kayla.
Oh, sorry, Ms. Parsons.
Feel like maybe there's a little bit of confusion going on. So that basically the first recommendation, Councillor Babola, was to take 3,000 out of the Tri-River request and reduce it to 5, putting 1,000 towards the hockey tour, and then splitting the rest, giving 500 to the ones that other ones that had 0 in the option 2. So 500 to each of them, and then the remainder to bring it to the 50,000 was tacked on to the boating association, bringing that to 7,200 instead of 5,000. So they had taken the discussion was to take 3,000 out of the Tri-River triathlon, dropping it to 5. And now I'm understanding that your suggestion was perhaps to only drop it by 2,000 and split that among them.
Yes, if we want to keep the total as it is. But if
Right.
we must go to 50,000, then we could just say 1,700 divided by 4.
Yes.
Okay, how does everyone think of that? Equation.
Don't make me do this again.
Councillor Erickson, would you like to add anything?
No, I'm okay with that.
Sorry, there's a delay for some reason. Come on,
For sure.
press the numbers.
She's working for it.
That would expend the full 50.
And then 900 there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
425.
Now it's gonna hit the 9 again. Oh. I don't know what's going on with this.
There you go. There you go.
So could you read that for
Yeah.
those of us who can't see that?
We have 10,000 for 10 acre shaker, or sorry, 5,000, the numbers are merging across my eyeballs. Alberta Pond Hockey, 5,000, Community Futures, 5,000, 900 for Peace Association for Lifelong Learning, 1,000 for hockey, 5,000 for boating, 5,000 for curling club, 900 for Wahoo Swim Club, 10,300 for Rotaract, 5,000 for Legion, 6,000 for triathlon, and 900 for underground.
That worked out quite nice. What does everyone think? Councillor Dees?
I think that's an acceptable compromise. Everybody gets a little bit of money. Some of the bigger people who got reduced some, but some little people got some money as well. So I think that's a good compromise.
So everyone is happy with that? We could have a motion put forward. Councillor World, Ms. Parsons first and then Councillor Ward.
I was just going to say, one, I don't expect you to read out all of those again, so it could just be as follows, or as discussed, and I'll list them in the minutes, but perhaps on the suggested motion at the end, when it goes as follows, you could add and suspend the program for the remainder of 2026. The budget is expended, that'll give clarity as requested by Director Bell.
Okay, go
You
ahead.
took the words right out of my motion. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I put a motion on the floor that council adopt the 2020, oops, sorry, wrong one. Move that council award the council grants to organizations 2026 intake. As follows, which is on the screen, and to suspend the program for the remainder of the year. However you want to word that.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor of the motion on the floor? And that is carried.
That wasn't that bad.
Next, update to council on the river edge vegetation assessment, again with Director Bell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Excuse me, Mayor, Mayor Shannon, I need about 3 minutes to get away from the monitor and I'll be back.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
Nope, nope,
Continue.
all good. Thank you very much. So just an update to a project initiated actually in very late 2024. So new members of council, this might be new information for you. Peace River Boating Association proposed removal of vegetation along the east side of the Peace River from the heart approximately to North End Boat Launch. This project requires some professional assistance, specifically looking to hire a consultant to do a professional assessment of what the scope of work could be, what the legislative requirements or implications would be, permitting requirements, potential implications, and final decision-making to come back to council with a report based on a lot of that information. So this was presented to council in the 2025 operating budget. Due to some priority shifting with the Red Earth Creek activation over the summer, the project got pushed off my plate for quite a period of time. I came back to it in the fall of 2025 and did put out an RFP in the fall. I do have a great response to that RFP for a consultant, and we are awarding and looking to move forward on that project once Mother Nature allows us to get down on the riverbank safely, and once the snow has disappeared so we can do proper assessments. The consultant can do proper assessments in that process. So we are anticipating a timeline of bringing back a report to council early fall, late summer, hopefully. As part of that process, administration had proposed a public engagement component. Any work that's being done along that riverbank does impact your members of the community. And I've had lots of comments of, oh, don't touch the choke cherry bushes. I pick berries along here and I like the trees because it provides shade as I'm walking. So this has garnered lots of conversation in the community. And on the other side of it, please get rid of the places that people like to congregate. So we do recommend a bit of a public feedback process outside of just the council setting to allow members of the community to potentially provide input of what the proposals would come out of that report. I don't recall if I highlighted it in the report here. The intent is that the consultant brings back a minimum of 3 options related to any vegetation removal along those areas. And anywhere from very selective removal to quite large areas of removal. So the report will include options for you to make some decisions on what you would like to do. The other thing of note, though I did not mention in this report, because I just, when we did put out the RFP, there are some large pieces of area along that particular distance, the property that the town does not own. So there'd be another consultation process with the property owners. Some of it includes the province, CN, and other landowners. So there's a bit of a process to any work that would have to be done before we set foot on initiating any work in those properties.
So it won't be done this year.
Typically, if there was any work done, in an ideal scenario, you'd want to do it under frozen ground.
Yeah.
So it would be winter months. If you're mulching, you want to be doing it under frozen ground. You'll make a mess if we do it in any other situation. We can do it outside of that frozen ground timeframe, but we would be needing to do wildlife sweeps 5 days in advance of any construction work being done, because there's migratory bird legislation that prohibits any work unless you're doing wildlife sweeps in advance of that work. So there are ways to do it, but based on the time frame of the consultants that submissions that we've received and their proposed timeframes,
some of the public feedback piece, reality is probably not until the winter of this upcoming winter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's quite a regulatory and permitting process to be done in any sort of construction, especially along a river too.
Okay, any other questions for Director Bell? Counselor News?
So, being as how the work's probably not gonna happen this year, has any of the costs been budgeted for this, or do we know an estimated cost for this? or-
No, we don't. And my understanding, the boating association at the time had been interested, I'm sorry, I don't know what the feedback is, maybe me. Interested in potentially doing some of the work themselves, so in kind. But again, the report will also assist us in what the potential cost could be and what potential maintenance could look like and what those costs could be. So if this is just a one-off, then it's a one-off. If there's some long-term maintenance, that's what we're asking for from the consultant also. Yeah, so that will give us an idea of costing in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Will anybody be interested in putting a motion on the floor for this item?
Okay.
Okay, Counselor News?
I would move that council accept the river edge vegetation assessment for information.
And all those in favor of the motion? And that is carried.
Thank you.
I just want to let the people in the gallery know there is a spot, a portion in the agenda where you can speak that will be coming up. Thank you. Okay, next up is the tax levy cancellation in lieu of copter with Ms. Guidon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. One of the items that administration has been working on is reviewing our processing and approval process for copter applications. The government of Alberta has recently made some amendments to the program, so we're taking a look at what we do, how we do it. This is one of those things that we're doing it the way it's been done the year before and the year before that and the year before that. So we're taking a look at it with fresh eyes. And it's also renewal year. 3 years ago, we granted 3 years. So we're taking the opportunity to make sure that we're doing it right because the organizations we granted exemptions to have to reapply this year. So through our review, we've been taking a look at how we're doing things, and what we've been doing is including the copter properties as taxable and then granting them a tax credit so that they don't pay taxes. That is an option under the MGA, but it's a different section of the MGA. It's not copter. Under copter, they would be exempt, not included in our equalized assessment. And we would not record revenue and expense for those properties. So given how late we are, we are proposing that we essentially do things the same for the properties. Just with the motion granting a tax exemption under the correct portion of the MGA for this year. And then moving forward for 2027, go through those properties, application process. The assessor would go through, they would be marked as copter, both as copter exempt in our records, and also the province would have that information. And also under the copter regulation, we receive the applications, forward it, the ones that we believe are eligible to our assessor, they review it, they grant it. And it would not have to go forward to council to approve the list under the proper copter process of doing it. But every year we would provide you with a list of who has received copter exemption and what the financial implications of that is. So basically kind of taken two portions of the property tax, put them together and achieve the same goal for the organizations, but it's not properly done on our end of things. So before you tonight is a request to approve cancellation of the 2026 levies against the properties identified in the list. These are all properties that we had previously granted copter exemption to. It's just we want to move it to MGA 347-1 instead of copter regulation, so that we are doing things properly under the MGA. And then next year, put them forward as copter properties and have them exempt. Any questions?
CA Miller?
Just for clarity, sake, so just to clarify a statement, when it's done, copter is treated properly, there is no financial implication to the municipality. Right now, there is, because we're expensing, we're levying, and then we're processing a tax credit, essentially. It's impacting our operating budget. Next year, when copter is processed properly, there won't be an impact to our budget because they're marked exempt, they're never levied, so they're not part of the calculation. So we'll still collect the same municipal requisition amount that we need to, just that they're not part of that calculation that it gets allocated to. So just for clarity purposes.
Okay, any questions? If we have no questions, would someone like to put a motion on the floor? Councillor Forsyth.
Where's the last place?
Number 5.
Number 6.
Oh, sorry, no, number. Oh, yeah, number 6, yeah, so we got number 7 is also.
I move the council approve tax cancellations for the following properties under MGA's 347-1B in lieu of copter processing area as listed.
All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. And still with Ms. Gato,
And still with copter.
we have copter up again, revoke copter exemption, roll number 302-300.
Yes, so with our review, we came across one property, and we were comparing it against the criteria where it would be eligible for copter. And, we have determined that it is not eligible. So under the appropriate section of copter, the property must be used if property is used solely for community sports, games, athletics, and recreation. It's not exempt if for more than 40% of the time it's in use. The majority of those participating in activities are 18 years of age or older. So basically what it says is 60% of the time or more, it has to be used for people who are under the age of 18. The property in question does not have a child membership. It is accessible 24 hours a day by a fob system, which we have determined means that it is not used 60% of the time or more for those under the age of 18. You aren't going to have a 12-year-old accessing a facility at 2 o'clock in the morning by a fob. It's predominantly adults. If they do have anybody under the age of 18, it would be maybe 1 or 2 17-year-olds, and that would be it. So we are essentially notifying you in our briefing note that we are withdrawing the copter exemption for this one property, which is where it's not on the list that you just. And we have notified the club in question.
Okay, any questions on this item? Would someone propose a motion? Councillor Ford.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I put a motion on the floor that council accept the briefing note regarding the revoking of copter exemption for roll number 302-300 for information.
All those in favor? And that is carried. Moving on to number 9. Reports, November 24th, Mighty Peace Tourism Association draft meeting minutes. And we have the Peace Regional Energy Committee draft meeting minutes. So does anybody have any question on those comments? Could we get someone to accept those for information, please? Councillor Babalola.
I move that council accept reports 9.1 and 9.2.
Thank you. And item number 10, information. We have a council communications. Oh,
Sorry.
all those in favor? Sorry about that. Carried. Just gonna accept those straight now. The information again, council communication package, April 2nd, and the April 7th governance and priorities committee meeting draft minutes. If there are any changes, if not, to get them accepted for information. Okay, Councillor Deuce.
I move that council accept items 10.1 and 10.2 for information.
All those in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Number 11, notices of motion. C.A.O. Miller.
It was included in the agenda there, Mayor Shannon. It was received in advance, so it's included in the agenda to be spoken to the next regular meeting.
Does it have to be read out or not?
I don't believe so, but I can, if you like.
Oh, I'm not sure.
So the notice of motion received from Deputy Mayor Carr, received on April 9. It states, I move to direct administration to contact MMSA and inquire about what is required to apply for membership with MMSA and report back to council at the next meeting of council. So the notice of motion will be brought forward at the next meeting to be voted on for consideration.
Okay. Everyone understands, as I think some of the new councillors, this is the first notice of motion we've had. Okay, so we've got that right into the minutes, and now we'll move on to number 12. Comments from the public. Please come on up and
Thank you for patiently waiting.
thank you for patiently waiting, yes.
Okay,
Sure.
first of all, I would like to apologize for the hands. I am much younger than I look and have never sat in a council meeting, but I would like to apologize.
That's fine, that's how you learn. We're happy to have you here.
Neither have I sat in a council meeting, so I was unaware what the process would be, but we're just here, board members of the Underground Music Society that applied for the grant as earlier to answer any questions you guys had about what it would be used for, or like what we think our organization provides to the community and all. I know it's already passed, that's fine, we're pretty happy with the results. Anything is good for us, but just for your information about it.
Oh, okay, well, do we have any questions for the Underground Music Society?
How often do you put on events?
We have our events 6 times a year. They are in February, March, April, May, and then September, October. So spring and fall, because people are busy in the winter and summer months with various things, especially on Christmas. Our events are always the last Saturday of the month. They're also all ages.
It's a great event, it is, it's an event.
Thank you, we really try.
So do you still get like a lot of different bands in, like a lot of different
We are working to keep like diversity and bringing in people, particularly from like around Alberta and local bands. We have we've had quite a few returning local bands that are very like from here nearby that we had some years ago. We brought back like just this year or the previous year.
So like, for example, our latest event, Night Howl, they're from Edmonton. But we also had in September, Honey Cowboy, of course, a Grimshaw favorite. So we really do try to spread it out. We've had bands from BC. We've had and one of our most recent ones, the Sophanomes. They're from Sexsmith, Spirit River, that whole area. So we really try to focus on talent that is Alberta.
And how long has the Underground Music Society been in existence?
As of September, it'll be 28 years.
Wow. Oh, wow, big 30th coming up then.
It is. We're pretty excited. September is our anniversary every year.
Oh, wow, and do you have an idea of how many members you have or how many people patronize the event?
Typically, I would say regulars about 50 to 70, but we've seen a huge spike in people showing up as of late. The last 4 or 5 dances have been far busier
I
than.
know the one that I went to, I was quite surprised. I thought if someone said it was like an intimate gathering, it was far from that. There was quite the crowd there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was quite good. Okay, well, thank you. Does anyone have any other questions for
I
them?
just have one question.
Okay, go ahead.
Did you guys reach out to any local businesses and stuff for sponsorship?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Like sponsorship for having your posters done or anything
We
like that?
do. The Valley Printers prints our posters for us for free. They sponsor us in that sense. We also have a couple of businesses that sell our tickets for us, or just post posters for us to get help with our promotion.
And a lot of
But
the businesses.
not any like direct monetary compensation.
Except for Valley Drug Mart, they prefer that their financial donations, the amount be is private, but they also donate to us for Halloween. They give us our candy. Local businesses donate our Halloween costume prizes. So like this year we had Enchanted Florist donate, and we've had some of the liquor stores and all sorts of places that help us out. But even the businesses that we get our supplies from are local, 12-foot liquor. We get our hotel rooms through Valley Health, and we have a comp room at Chateau Nova from, a contact of ours. Valley Printers does our posters. Every single event, they do them for us. So pretty much all of our money that we put into local businesses. The 1,800 I applied for the grant. The 1,800 that I applied for was our $300 rental every month for the senior center.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what we pay them for our venue. Which again goes back into the community and another nonprofit.
Good, thank you.
It's good. Good work. Well, thank you for coming. And again, thanks for your patience. And we hope you have a successful event.
Thank you very much for what we received. We were very happy about it. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for taking the time to come.
Absolutely.
And next up in the gallery, I think we have one more. Oh, hi, Victoria.
Hi.
Not sure if you're hiding over there in the corner, I can see you.
Thank you. So for those that don't know me, my name is Victoria Champion-Canas. I'm one of the names put forward for the policing committee. And I work with victim services, and there's a bit of a misconception in the community that we actually work for the RCMP. And one of the guidelines on the application was that we don't work for the RCMP. So I'm just here today to clarify that before you go in to make your decision. If anyone has any questions about that. That's my whole spiel, so that's it. So I actually did have one question for Mr. Ford, though. What's the difference between the police or the RCMP advisory committee and what this policing committee will be?
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of ask Ms. Parsons for some help here. So the policing committee is brand new. The policing committee is mandated by the provincial government. So it's a higher authority committee. Where there's a terms of reference and all that written for. The Peace Regional RCMP Advisory Committee is made up from all of our local municipalities. The seniors community, as I mentioned earlier, we have a student from Glenmurray. We also have another student from Peace River High School, Alberta Health. Saginaw was now sitting on that committee as well. So it's a wide range of everybody in the municipality that brings information to the meeting. What this community is doing, what that community is doing, events that are coming up, where they're having issues, where things are successful, and then
That definitely makes sense,
Yeah.
because I know the province came down with the new legislation for those policing kind of committees, so it makes sense now.
yeah, so it's a
It just was
totally
my lack of-
different,
Yeah,
different style of committee. That committee is, will be formed by the town of Peace River. The RCMP Advisory Committee is not a committee of council. It is a not-for-profit organization that we participate on.
Okay, thank you. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention was that for victim services staff, we actually do have our enhanced security clearance already. I can't remember if I put that in my application, so.
Okay, we'll
Thank you.
keep that in mind. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Wow, we broke a record. 2 people spoke from the gallery.
That is a record.
That's awesome. Okay, thank you for those comments from the public. And now we are going to need a motion to go into closed session. And Councillor Babalola will take us. to closed session.
Council, move to closed session.
At
7:04 PM.
7:04.